Trying to go live again here. Uh, Unreal. You know, when you have a heart attack and they release you from the hospital, you're supposed to avoid stress. Well, on top of these doctors prescribing, I've lost count of how many drugs they want me to take every day. There must be 10, maybe more, different chemicals. And then I researched it, and the doctor even admitted a couple. They're causing the side effects. They cause you to get sick, get a runny nose, fucks up your lungs. They give you steroids, fucks up your lungs. They give you a couple of other statins and other things that these drugs they were actually attacking my kidneys. A couple of drugs. Two of the doctors said stop taking it. I go to the hospital, another two doctors say take it. And I'm like, are you guys looking at these fucking reports? I'm reading them thoroughly. These doctors don't fucking care. I started questioning, she comes in finally because they're going to release, they keep me another day for the insurance purposes. And on top of that, they force this defibrillator. I've shown that before. I'm driving, but it's on the seat next to me. It's a company called Zoll, Z-O-L, okay? Avoid it like the plague. They insist, the doctor says, we're not going to release you unless you take this thing and wear it. It's a defibrillator. That means it can shock you. And they do. And oh no, this is perfectly safe. Oh, well, I don't want that. I don't want to pay. So no, you have to rent it. So they're charging, there's another scam with Medicare. They're billing Medicare, and I just found out online, thousands of dollars a month. Thousands per month. And it's like 20-year-old technology. Let me show you. It's like a fucking medieval torture device. Look at this fucking thing. Look at this fucking thing. This weighs about 10 pounds. These things were developed almost 20 years ago. And I'm like, so you're going to force me to wear this thing? I'm like, all right. And it's absolute torture. It contributes to your ill health. All right? Now get this. I didn't read up on it completely when because I've been I had to go back in the hospital because I got sick. Now I developed bronchitis from the drugs. And the doctor also admitted, she says, well, you also probably picked that up in the hospital. I go, yeah, hospitals are the most dangerous places on the planet. I said, why do you do this to people? And she couldn't explain to me why they give you, we give you this drug for that. And yeah, okay. They're all supposed to do something for your heart. Great. But you've got redundant drugs doing this and that, and they're all interacting. And I'm like, so I bit my tongue. When you argue with the doctor, not argue, debate it. You start pointing out the truth, the facts, they get pissy. They get real pissy. They don't like that. They want to spend their less than 5 minutes and charge you $1,000, and they've got 20 patients they go and spend 5 minutes with, and they make $200,000. Fucking outrageous. And I finally get out of there, and I still can't fucking breathe. Just like the last time I went in the hospital. You know what happened the last time I went? This COVID, this weaponized virus that they attacked everybody with. Oh, it was natural. It was terrible. It was man-made, all right? And so was the fucking drug that they forced upon us and made us pay for. Oh, this is free. No, we paid billions, hundreds of billions, over time, trillions. We are being bled dry because Americans are stupid and gullible. And then you got shit like this. This company has been in operation since the beginning, 2000s. So I finally sit down and I start reading. You got to do this little Google search. You got to do a little, actually use the DuckDuckGo. Do a little search because Google will hide stuff. So you find interesting stuff. What I find is, I just got finished dealing with a car service place, and I'm getting to that. Now I've got some fucking, look at this guy. I got another fucking illegal driving a beat up car right fucking next to me. Fucking, they are clueless. Absolutely fucking clueless. And they are the guys that have destroyed my business, my car business, because there's a million of them stealing the jobs, doing it for pennies, when these cocksuckered Marxists in government have given them billions of dollars that was supposed to go to FEMA, or FEMA was supposed to give it to real Americans, like along the coast, real disaster. In fact, I'm one of those victims. A tornado rolled through here last year in March. I filed for assistance because it destroyed my shit. They turned me down. Just, nah, you don't get shit. So anyway, these fucking people. Back to this fucking life vest thing. It's a scam. I look on there. The first thing I see on, numerous, not one person saying how wonderful it is, or not one doctor or hospital saying it saved a life. Not one. In years. 2 decades almost. But what I did see is in 2012, it killed 2 people, including a little 11-year-old girl. Their fucking vest killed people. Shocked them to death. Stopped their hearts. Killed them. Their families no longer have these people because of this fucking company, and I can guarantee who it is running this thing. They run everything else, and they don't care. So this Zoll, Z-O-L-L, look it up, Zoll Life Vest. It hasn't changed in 20 years. I even called them and pointed it out. I said, this thing is not working. It says to, call you. Then it says it won't upload the data. They're not saving the fucking data. And I said, everything, their Wi-Fi, their fucking charger is this gigantic thing. And I said, you guys haven't even switched to goddamn lithium batteries. It would be a fraction of the weight. Because every time you move, the thing drops and hits the ground. And they want to fucking charge you for it. Well, you're renting it. Good luck. Anyway. Oh, Jesus Christ. No, my AC's fucking... So... I'm so... supposed to avoid stress after a heart attack. And this is the shit that goes on. And there were numerous complaints over the past 15, 20 years about this exact thing. Numerous complaints, numerous lawsuits. And they must be dodging them because they're making so much fucking money. Because they're billing insurance that doesn't follow up. They're billing the government through Medicare, Medicaid, and nobody's looking. So these guys are making millions, probably hundreds of millions over time. I'm trying to gas up. And of course, I just went into a gas station, and they got you pushing all these buttons on pumps, and of course it doesn't work. It doesn't fucking work. So anyway, I'm trying to I'm trying to avoid stress. So And this is after, I'll get to the car repair. Another scam. So I call these Zelle people, and you end up, doesn't matter, just like at the shop, you're dealing with some 20-year-old that don't know shit from Shinola. Some 20-year-old girl blowing smoke up your ass because you're just an old person. You know, you don't know any better. And these doctors, they're getting paid off. Who in the, who in the fucking, who in an actual caregiver, an actual surgeon, an actual doctor, who would recommend this shit if they weren't being paid? They're being paid off. They're making hundreds of thousands doing this kind of shit. And they say, well, you're not actually buying it. You're renting it, but your insurance is paid for it. Then I look at all these complaints going back 20 years. They keep billing the insurance, so the people call the insurance and say, we sent it back in the box. Everything is. I'm going to document everything, and I'm going to send it certified, registered. And what they were doing to people, they would keep billing. They would, even though they got it back, people would send it back. They kept billing the insurance until the insurance said, "We're not paying this anymore. $3,000 a month, $6,000 a month. No, we're not paying for this." Then what do? Well, they got all your information. They start billing you. They start sending you bills. So if they were sending people bills for thousands of dollars a month, and people were complaining left and right, and lawsuits, and they were probably just settling them, saying, "Oh, that's a clerical. Sorry, we're so sorry." Kroger does the same thing. 10%. You look at your receipts from now on, okay? You look at everything very closely. You look at the shit you bought. Look at the stuff that they supposedly have marked down. Take a picture. Every time you take something off a shelf, take a picture of those little stickers. Because they're going to lie and they're going to deny it. Oh, we don't know anything. And then they either make you or they send somebody all the way back to look at the shelf. And they know perfectly fucking well what's going on. They're saying, "Oh, you get 2 for 1 on this." And then they charge you for both. Kroger, it's a corporate policy, and they are ripping people off for an average. I've caught them every single time, an average of 10% on about 100. They're not going to do it on 1 or 2 items because they get caught too easy. But if you're buying, say, $100 worth of groceries, which ain't much these days now, they will sneak in this 10%. So they are robbing Americans for millions, hundreds of millions, over time billions, and they're getting away with it. And now we got these idiots in government, these cocksuckers. I even voted them in there. Doge, yeah, that's great. They are actually going to clean up government. What do they find? They found a few $100 million. They shut down some departments. They just move shit around, and then they spend another $3 trillion on defense. Thanks, Raytheon. Thanks, President Trump. Oh, and he's gonna stop the wars. What did he do? They just spent probably a few $100 million, maybe more, sending tankers, over 20 tankers from the United States. Not from Europe or Africa or wherever, Middle East. They flew them all the way over from the United States, and their favorite toy, the B-2 bomber. Nobody in the fucking planet has the ability to stop any of this shit. Not even the Russians, not the Chinese, not the Russians. We could put an end to everything if we just said, "Okay, we're going to drop some nukes. Everybody quit right now." No, what he does, he says, "We're not going to do this." And then he turns around and it's all a puppet show. It's all for these corporations to keep robbing us for trillions of dollars until the entire system collapses, which is part of the plan. He sends these guys over there, bombers, jet fighters, millions and hundreds of millions of dollars worth of ordnance, useless weapons. And they bomb the shit out of these stupid Iranians who are in on the deal, by the way. These mullahs, ever since the 70s, when they took over, that was a CIA deal. You know, that was to get this eternal war started. Why didn't they take out Iran at the end when they took out Libya, um, Iraq, and Afghanistan? That wasn't part of the plan, even though it was listed. They planned that in 2000, 2001, PNAC. Well, because they want to continue these fucking Jew bastards, these fucking Zionists in Israel. They are the ones that actually control this country. They control the purse strings. They control the currencies. They control the media. So you got this fake, the whole thing is fake, including Trump, including the left and the right, including everybody that's out there making fucking money except for you and me. So they go over there and drop a whole bunch of bombs, and these fucking mullahs, these ayatollahs, they got their offshore accounts in Switzerland and fucking the Bahamas and Cayman Islands. They're they love becoming billionaires. Same as these goddamn fucking Jew bastards in Israel. They're only how many Jews are there in the world? You can count them on one hand. There's only a few million out of 8 billion people. And somehow they run the world. They're genetically smarter than everybody else. That's the problem. They're inbred, so they're insane. And they're going to be the ruin of our species. So I got off on a real tangent there, buddy. Going from this fucking life vest that kills people. I took it off when I finally read all that shit. I'm like, no more. I'm gonna videotape everything, packing it, shipping it, and I'm gonna send it, registered and certified. So they have to actually sign for it that they got it. No more of this. Well, we didn't get it. We're gonna send you the bill now. That'll be $6,000. No. And I'm thinking about fucking going after the hospital for this bullshit. It's like, why are you? This is a scam. And I even told them that in the hospital. I said, this thing is a scam. And they don't want to hear that. That pisses them off. They don't want to hear that shit. I'm telling everybody in the hospital that shit, and they're like, these doctors, man, they don't fucking like that. And of the administrators, they really don't like it. The owners, they certainly don't like it. They don't want any of that shit. They don't want to rocking a boat. They got such a good thing going. They are making money more than they ever have by keeping us sick, making us sick, keeping us sick. Pharmaceuticals. I just did a quickie. It's on my site, on my channel. The number of drugs that they want me to take, they're making me take every single day. Here's another example. I had my blood sugar under control. My diet. I stopped eating all the shit that raises your blood sugar. Anything that's good, you're not supposed to. So I went in the hospital the second time with my blood sugar because I get the reports on my phone before the doctors do with this MyChart thing. So I'm studying these things and researching it before the doctor even comes to talk to me. So I look at these results from blood sugar tests, just one of the tests, multiple tests that they're charging insurance for, over and over and over again, which is redundant. You don't need to do that. So I go in with like a 95 number on the glucose level, which is right in the middle of the perfect zone. I have 2 meals on their menu. Heart healthy. They got a little heart next to it. It's so healthy. And it spikes to 190 something. Almost, it doubles. more than doubles. I have another meal. They do another blood test. It spikes to 200 and something. You know? Then I have another meal. I was only there a day and a half. One night. 2 nights, I'm sorry. And I had another meal, like a dinner. Oh, you can have this. It shoots up to 350 something. From 95, my blood sugar glucose level shoots up to 350 something, which, diabetic. And I'm like, okay, they know I had a heart attack. The kitchen. Hospital tells the kitchen what to do, right? I'm talking to the kitchen. Did anybody tell them that I was diabetic? Oh, no, sir, we didn't know that. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Then I find out, oh yeah, it's probably the steroids we've been giving you. You know, not just the food. It's the steroids. We've been deliberately fucking with your numbers. We jacked your glucose numbers, and we jacked these other numbers that we find it proves that creatine or something, whatever it is, that shows that we're killing your kidneys. We're deliberately damaging your kidneys. We're deliberately damaging your liver with these drugs. We're deliberately damaging your lungs. Oh no, this is treatment. This is treatment. You know the only reason why I survived? I'm a stubborn motherfucker. When I had the heart attack, most people, they keel over. I was conscious. I'm on my feet the whole fucking time. I was conscious the entire time from when I puked my guts out in my car and the EMTs took me to the hospital. The whole time they're moving me in and out of the emergency. And the whole time the guy is operating on me, sticking stents, little balloons in my arm all the way up to my heart to open up 3 clogged arteries, 100%. And then I find out I've got like a congenital defect on the left side of my heart that nobody's bothered to look at before, even though I tell them all the time, these doctors, year after year. Nobody's bothered to do that. Now suddenly I find out my ticker has been fucking with me all these years, and that's why I always feel like I'm going to collapse and pass out. Well, they didn't bother telling me that my fucking heart was all fucked up. So they put this shit in. They start pumping me full of all these fucking chemicals. We're trying to treat you. We want you well. Oh, and put on this fucking this medieval shock collar because you're a good little doggy. And if you don't behave, you might just get a shock one day. I told him, I even told the girl on the phone, I said, these things can be hacked. Oh, no, the software is perfect. On this 20-year-old piece of shit. I said, everything, you're on the interwebs there. You're supposed to be able to, but of course your Wi-Fi don't work when you're trying to upload the program, the recordings, which probably don't actually exist. There's probably not recording a thing. But when you try to do that, it doesn't work. I said, but you know what? Hackers could go right in there. They can look right at everything they want. They're in your computer right now, you dumb bitch. And who's to say that they can't just send a little shock somebody's way, Either because they're malicious and evil, or they're malicious and evil and working for government or somebody. Some shadowy people. So we don't like this guy. He's talking too much. You know what? I got a warning from Google once on my business listing saying you should watch what you say on the internet. Oh, really? Google actually sent me a message on my business, which they, of course, have basically closed down and won't let me re-verify. That was a good 80% of my calls for my business. So Google, some cunt somewhere in the world, some Zionist piece of shit, has decided, well, this guy, he's just another one of these people. We're going to fuck him. Hang on a second. Unfucking real, right? 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 So I got... Here's another thing. They found 250,000 microplastic nodules in your average plastic bottle of water. 250,000 in every bottle. And now the reports are saying, you know what? We actually found it in glass bottles, which means they're using it on the same machinery, and with all these plastics are leaching into your food. 250,000 and it just stays in your body. It doesn't get pissed or shit out. Interesting. It stays in your body. So I'm just unbelievably frustrated. Oh, antibacterial wipes. And right there in the door. Oh, so anyway, about the doctors and all that, yeah. I I took this truck to this tire discounter in Delaware, Ohio. I've taken it to 2 or 3 others, and they've all been fuck-ups. Every car repair place I've ever gone to has been criminal. You know, they steal from you, and you're stuck because you got to get your shit fixed. Let me shut this off. I'm burning gas for no goddamn good reason. So I go to this one over here in Delaware finally. You got to have that shit fixed. You got to keep your shit on the road, right? And now I'm in no position to work on anything. I can't. Just doing this is exhausting me. So I'm hoping my heart don't fucking go. So my nose is still fucking running. All these drugs they gave me, and I'm still sick. You know what happened the last time I was starting to say about the COVID, the fake virus. I came down with that shit back, 3-4 years ago, and I ended up in the hospital. Well, the first questions they ask you, have you been vaccinated? And I start telling them no, because it's not a vaccine. mRNA. It's not a vaccine. It's a little bag of DNA, well, not DNA, but RNA, that they have Frankenstein and manipulated. They found fucking AIDS virus in this stuff. They found all kinds of mercury. They find all kinds of poisons in these so-called cures. This is deliberate. They want to slow kill people. They want to make you sick. They can make money off. You're nothing but cattle to these people. You are the goyim. So anyway, I've dropped 10, 20,000 the last few years trying to keep my cars on the road when the government is handing money and cars and driver's licenses to all these fucking mud people from the third world. They turn their nations, they're not even a nation. Fucking like Somalia, it's not even a nation. It's a fucking shithole. The whole fucking country. There's no government. It's just warlords shooting each other. They treat their women like shit. All across the Middle East, the men rape little boys. They don't care about the women. They still stone women to death. They will kill their daughters for their so-called pride, and then they turn around and they fuck little boys. They are degenerates and they need to go. All these fuck. So they brought them here. Let's bring these wonderful people here, and let's let them destroy the economy. Let's let them destroy American business. And they are goddamn doing it. Doesn't matter what. This bullshit about Trump moving these guys out of here, that's all for show. You know, Tren de Agua. Guess what? The CIA created these gangs in Central America. The CIA fucking did it. We're being lied to, left and right. And nothing has changed since the days of Andrew Jackson. He managed to get rid of the bank, which is the Rothschild Central Banking System. His legacy, he said, I killed the bank. So anyway, these idiots at this car shop, I take it in there because the tire's going low. Guy gives it back to me, and this is 3 months ago. He says, "Oh, your valve stem was leaking." Oh, okay. Fixed it, huh? Yep. Oh, it fixed it. No nails in the tire? No. Okay. So for the last 3 months, I haven't been able to get back. It keeps going low, and I fill it up, and it keeps going low. And, I get in the thing, and I need to use it, and it says 20 pounds. And this is and he overfills the other tires. The other tires in the heat ballooned up to 41 pounds. I said, no, they should all be about 35, for a safe ride. So I said, I bring it in yesterday. I'm like, you guys got to fix this. It's your problem. And they go, well, you can come back in tomorrow afternoon. We'll schedule you. We're busy, obviously. So they're busy ripping people off. So I'm like, okay, great. Put some air in it so I can get back. I come back it was like 2:45, 2:30, 2:45. And I sit there until 4 o'clock. When they finally bring it in. And I'm waiting. And the guy comes out and he says, oh, well, they found a nail. I said, I told you that last time. I said, you sold me a fucking valve stem I didn't need. So I want that money back. He said, I'm not concerned about that money. Oh, really? He says, well, I'm not going to charge you for... So what? Why? He's trying to sell me a tire. He says, well, the nail is close to the sidewall. I'm like, well, actually, I'd like to see that. I said, you know what? Fuck you. There's a brand new spare and a brand new wheel underneath it, like every other Suburban. I said, just put the spare on and let me leave. 20, 30, 40 minutes later, there's 3 fucking idiots out there can't figure out how to drop the spare. They say, sir, there's a special tool for... I say, well, actually, you don't need a special tool. You're trying to do it on the ground. Lift it up. You can get in there with a wrench and fucking unhook it. They don't know this. They're looking for... Sir, can you find... They don't even know how to open the back of the goddamn truck. I said, push the fucking button. 3 of them. 3 young idiots. One of them is a female. DEI hire. Great. She cops an attitude. I'm looking at them like, the tools are on the side of the thing in the back. So she's in there rummaging around, pulling shit out. And I'm like, okay, well, if you can't find a tool, that's not my concern, Say then it realized the last guy that went in there and fucked around with it probably forgot to put the tool back. Or these guys don't know how to find the tool. Because I think the tool is actually stored up underneath the car. It's this long metal contraption. And there's no other storage in the goddamn car for this place to be. And they don't know how to find it. I just looked at them and I said, 3 of you, and I told the guy at the counter, 3 of you cannot figure out how to change the tire. Three of you cannot figure out how to put a spare on a fucking tire on a car. I said, just put the original one back fucking on and let me leave. He goes, he's arguing with me about the bill. And then he finally says, well, I can send this up to corporate. This is going to be a corporate matter. I said, you better fucking believe it's a fucking corporate matter, you moron. And this is the same guy that fucking told me it was fixed the first time around. I said, give me that fucking money back. Give me that $50 back. You robbed me for a valve stem. He said, well, the valve stem was only $10. The charge, the labor charge. I said, yeah, and you fucked it up. You didn't do it. You didn't find the nail I told you that was probably there. And you're probably lying about the nail, trying to sell me a tire. I said, make sure there's air in it and put a fucking bag on the car. It took them another 10 minutes, 15, three of them, put a fucking thing back on. So they pull it out, because I'm standing outside, I'm fuming by this time. You know, the guy pulls up, he says, here's the car. And he gets out, and there's grease. Grease. I just wiped most of it off. It's still filthy. Grease all over the steering wheel. These guys, their hands were covered in grease. I said, the three of you have been getting in and out of my fucking car and getting grease all over the interior of this thing. I said, get a rag and some cleanser and fucking clean it off. They get pissy. So there's 5 of them in there now, chatting, talking about it. One guy comes over with this filthy old rag, and he's going to wipe it off. I go, what are you fucking doing? I said, no. He said, no, it's clean. I said, all you're going to do is smear the grease into the fucking plastic. I said, get some fucking cleanser. Get some fucking cleanser. Spray it on there and wipe it, clean it off. Then he gets pissy because he's an idiot. Then this dumb cunt comes out with another rag, and she starts smearing it around. I'm like, what are you doing? Where's the spray? Where's the cleanser? She shows me a paper towel that she's got, and it's wet. And I'm like, where's the cleanser? All you do is wet a towel. What is wrong with you people? You can't even figure out how to change a fucking tire. And you can't figure out to clean off the guy. And I come out of there and I get grease all over my hands. I said, just get the fuck out of my way. She says, well, sir, you don't have to have... I just looked at her and I said, fuck off. And then she starts yelling. They start yelling at me from the garage. Have a nice day. And I'm like, you motherfuckers. You motherfuckers. So you better believe it's going to corporate. It doesn't do much good, you know. Because the last tire discounter I went to, that was a huge mistake. They bust a bolt off on the front end of this thing and tried to charge me for new suspension parts. I said, you didn't even tell me, you know. You came out afterwards with a broken bolt in your hand and tried to charge me. I said, if a bolt is that froze up and you can't unfreeze it with a torch, you don't fucking force it and break it off. You tell the client, you say, this won't move, we can't work on it. It's that simple. My car's in one piece. Instead, my car's fucked, you know, and they charge me for the parts, expensive parts and shit. Charge me for the labor and everything else. So I go to the corporate people and I rat these fuckers out. And I go back and the guy says, he's all pissy because he's got to refund my money. I'm like, you guys fucking do this shit all the time. I've been around. I know what's going on. No more smoke blowing up my ass. Just fucking make it right. And I told this guy just now, this weaselly hillbilly fuck. The other 2 guys that work there, they're not like that, you know. But they weren't, of course, they weren't there today. Just my luck. And he's like, I'm not concerned about that. He says, no, I'm not gonna. I can't refund them the money. It's been 3 months. I go, it's your doing. I don't care if it's been 3 fucking years. It's your doing. Then I look, I turn and I point at the wall. It says lifetime valve stems and shit. He says, well, that's if you buy tires. I go, you guys are such scumbags. I said, you know what? Just don't charge me a dime for today. For now, you're gonna steal my $50. Just put my fucking wheels back on and let me get out of here. This is what I've been dealing with day after getting out of the hospital. Stress factors that I'm not supposed to be stressing about anything. I'm supposed to be relaxing and resting my heart. After, and like I said, I was conscious the whole time, and I didn't sleep a wink when I was in the hospital. So for the first one go around was a good 4 or 5 days. 4 days last week. And I was out of there for all of about 2 days. And the coughing and hacking didn't stop. And it turns out, oh, that's probably the hospital and the drugs that did it. Oh, that's great. I'll go in with a bad ticker, and you send me out with bad lungs, bad kidneys, bad liver. Somebody in Pakistan watching my shit. Like, see, nobody wants to sit and listen. And once I start talking about certain things, I'll leave this as recording. If anybody ever eventually watches and listens, it's Google knows. Their machine mind knows. You start talking about Jews and Zionists and the real state of the world, who's controlling shit, how they're robbing us for trillions, they're destroying the republic. As soon as Google hears that, they turn it off. You're a shadow banned. Nobody's ever allowed to see this. They won't let anybody see this shit. You know. So eventually, all this is gonna stop. It's a huge waste of my time. Everybody else. I find myself sitting there doing the same thing as everybody else. Just you get engrossed in this fucking insanity, and it's all deliberate. It's all been planned. The scientific part of it has been planned for a couple centuries. The, the evil humanity part of it has been planned for a few thousand years. These fuckers have been waiting. Now I'm getting all fucking woozy. It's insane, you know. I should have just left it all years ago. I should have gone homesteading, grown my own food. I've tried a couple of times and been shot down by powers that be. I was nearly there, 4 years ago uh, I actually established a bed and breakfast near a university town in Ohio, and I was still running my car service, and I just started making money. People liked the place; they were staying. You still had these idiots they send around who just try to destroy you. You know, these fucking Karens that can never be pleased, and they love to fucking rat people out with fake lies and reports. It gives them a little power in their tiny little lives. So I had more than my share of those coming down there, just fucking with me for no good reason. And then the landlords. I had went through two different landlords, two different properties. Both of them ideal, and they just couldn't leave me alone. They were upping my shit every fucking day. I'm like, you're a landlord. I'm leasing this. It makes it mine. You know, as long as I'm paying for it, it's my abode. You can't be over here fucking with me every single day, trying to, get into my life. I don't want you in my fucking life. And they were both that way. And of course, these insane born again Christians, hypocrites, because everything they do is evil and twisted. The one landlord, I find out after researching it down there in Athens County, that he had been harassing every person he rented to for 10 years. Every single person that went in there, he was just up their ass about, he'd try to break into the house while a woman's taking a shower, just letting himself in unannounced. He was taking pictures of a 9-year-old girl, the daughter of a cop who was renting the place, taking pictures of this child. The cop confronted him with his duty belt on and said, "Get the fuck, what are you doing? Get the..." So they're all calling 911. I've got recordings, 911 recordings. I got paperwork out the ass on this guy, and I'm actually showing it to his attorney and shit. And, attorneys aren't going to admit any of that shit. Then the kicker was, you're down there in the country, and it was rural, man. It was perfect in the middle of the woods. Out of a woods and farmland. And of course, he's renting a place next to me. Uses the same driveway to a bunch of degenerate fucking meth heads. And even the cops, the sheriff's deputies, knew this. It's like the Hatfields and McCoys, fucking whole family of fucking degenerates. And they had put 3 or 4 different guys in this house with this dude and a woman and her daughter, so I can imagine what was going on. And I'm like, dude, the landlord, this is unacceptable. So these guys, then they start fucking with me, in the dead of winter. I'm like, this is not going to fly. So one day I'm pulling in and they're leaving in a pickup truck loaded with shit. And I'm like, it's about fucking time. But then, of course, the woman, the landlord is telling her that I'm a killer, that I'm insane and blah, blah, blah. She actually pulls up to my front door with her kid in the car, banging on the door, wanting to know, why are you... I looked there and I said, I haven't done anything. These are your buddies and this crazy fucking landlord. And he was crazy. In fact, he got arrested. He got dragged to jail a couple of times. But one time, it was for animal cruelty. He had left some horses down in this pasture in front of me. Some animals, horses, and they were starving. So whoever was living there at the time, he ratted him out. He went to jail, got arrested. They dragged him out of the Kroger's. He was a butcher, which I'm thinking, oh yeah, this guy probably kills people. How many bodies are buried out on this property? So he retaliates against this one woman. He takes her cat, her pet cat. He kills it, and he throws it in a ditch, a water-filled ditch out by the road. Deliberately kills her pet for no fucking good reason. And then he moves these 2 dumb hillbilly kids in underneath me because I couldn't afford to rent the whole building. It was a big place. He moves them in downstairs, and I'm like, oh, dude. And they had dogs. He says, well, I said the rules are, no, you're not supposed to have any dogs in here, and especially not puppies. He says, oh no. Well, one was practically a puppy that barked constantly. He just ignored me. And these dumb hillbillies just fucking trashed the place. They never picked up the dog shit, which was right underneath my veranda. I had a deck which was dangerous. I reported that in court. He fixes one board. You know, the courts down there are corrupt. The whole fucking area is corrupt. The city's run by a bunch of fucking Marxist idiots for the university. And the slumlord landlords, they control that. The sheriff actually went to prison for corruption. So these guys start calling the sheriff's deputies on me in the middle of the night, you know, and they're out there banging on the door. I didn't answer the door. You don't have to answer the door. So they're pissing off the sheriff's deputies until finally this dumb motherfucker comes up banging on my door. Big dumb fucking hillbilly. Turns out, guess what? He's a prison guard. He's a prison guard at one of the local state prisons. And he's bragging online about beating fucking prisoners. You know, they think it's funny. They're beating the prisoner. This idiot's out there banging on my door. And I called the cops. I said, he's right out there. I get a restraining thing against him. And then he tries to set me up. You know, they're saying I'm shooting guns in the house. I'm shooting guns in the house. I'm like, you know what? I can hear every fucking word you're saying downstairs. I said, I turn on a TV and you say I'm shooting guns. You dumb motherfuckers. And of course, I'm doing this online the whole time, you know, vlogging about all these idiots I'm surrounded by, and they're watching this shit dutifully, you know. So this landlord tried to set me up 2 or 3 times with dumb fucking hillbillies. I'm like, enough, man. Just leave me the fuck alone. No, he can't do that. Then one night, you know, these dumb hillbillies are still coming and going. I'm like, I can hear somebody out in the driveway, down the driveway. And then I look down to the road. The driveway, you know, it's like this coming up. It's a good quarter mile long coming up to the house. And I see somebody backing up the fucking driveway, you know, trying to maneuver their car, backing in, which tells me they want to make a hasty escape. They back all the way in front of my place, and I'm out there heavily armed, you know, in the dark waiting. I didn't turn his floodlights on or nothing. And I hear somebody meat comes out of the house down the road, down the drive, meets them. You know, car doors, people talk. Then I hear this pistol fire. Bam, 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 bam. Bam, 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 bam. The guy empties 2 fucking magazines. Probably a 9. You know, God knows where, over the house, into the hillside. So I returned fire. I hit him with a spotlight, and I go, I basically said something about them being dumb motherfuckers. And I popped off a couple of rounds into the ground in front of the house. They go fucking just tossing gravel, just spitting gravel, whoever's driving, and they're all the way down this fucking gravel road. You know, they didn't expect that. And it's just this little parting gift. Pop, 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 pop off a couple more, you know, as they're reaching the end of the driveway. So I'm in a court on the phone with their attorney. And I call the attorney, because they're fucking with the heat and the AC and everything. I'm like, so I tell them about all of this shit. I said, you know, he came in shooting. I said, you know what, he's paying these people to do this shit. He said, well, you can't run. I said, so I returned fire. He goes, you what? Mr. Luken, you returned fire? So you goddamn right I did. That was a crazy time. It was fun, but crazy. I would much rather live without all that aggravation. But that's the story of my life. I'm exchanging gunfire with a bunch of meth heads down in southern Ohio. That was when I finally got all the records, all the 911 calls, because the sheriff's department was stalling me. I said, this is public property. Just give me the recording of the calls, give me the printouts, and I'll go. So eventually they fucking cough it up. Because they don't want anybody knowing this shit, you know? Say, we've responded 1,000 times to that property over 10 years. Oh, great. Wonderful. So I'm in court, and I beat the motherfucker in court, of course, because he's an imbecile. You know, he has to basically pay me, and I get time enough to find another place. I found the perfect place. 6-bedroom log cabin, 3-story log cabin. Not even 5 minutes outside of the university, but out in the trees, gigantic property. I'm looking forward to, you know, and this, at first, they're always nice, this born-again Christian landlord. But it turns out he's been using it as a flop house for students, and they absolutely trashed the place. And he didn't want to move filthy, stained, piss-stained furniture. The carpets, they were filthy and stained. I said, pull this crap out. I can't fucking have guests here. Just clean the whole house out. I'm going to put some new shit in. And he promises, oh, I'll put down some flooring. He pulls, you know, there's stains everywhere on the fucking, the plywood floor underneath this god-awful carpet. He just drags the carpet out in the yard and sets fire to it. He takes all this moth-eaten, fucking filthy, you know, piss-stained furniture from these frat boy types, and he puts it in the garage. It turns out he's got a fire truck in the garage, and I'm like, I need to park my cars. We drew up a contract. I said, I need to park my cars. I said, I need firewood, you know, for all these stoves, which turn out 2 or 3 of them don't work. You know, they're not safe. The place has never been fucking rehabbed properly. Then I also find out the roof is leaking because he wouldn't pay the roofer. So he's just blowing me off. I'm like, dude, you're in violation. You're in violation of the contract. You know, you can't do this. You want me to keep paying you, but you don't want to do it. You know, you haven't provided me with a firewood. You haven't fixed the interior, and now you won't move this goddamn fire truck so I can park in the garage. He says, well, I'll build you a cover for your car. Why? So he starts with these idiot kids he's got, you know, conned into working for him, these Christian boys. They don't know what they're doing. They put up this spindly 2x4 thing, you know, and it's weird and tall and gigantic, and it's going like this. I'm like, that's not. First he put up just one of these stupid flimsy tent things and expects me to park underneath that. I said, that's not what we agreed on, because the first storm came through, blew it down, and it fell apart and scratched the shit out of my car. And what he had put all his garbage, just shoved it into storage sheds. Just a bunch of trash, a bunch of broken shit. You know, the guy was weird. There was a filthy rat. It was covered with rat shit. A fucking piece of luggage. Filthy old piece of stinking luggage with rat shit in it. I threw it out twice. He kept pulling it out of the trash and setting it aside. I'm like, there's something wrong with this guy. There's something fucking wrong. Then they fucked up the steps. I showed him how to fix steps. And he's got this idiot, you know, handyman that doesn't know which end of the hammer to use. and they fucking put the steps in backwards. I'm like, what the fuck are you guys thinking? And it needs a handrail. He takes a sharp piece of uh, like wings cutting, that's supposed to go along the floor. He nails that to the side. I'm like, that's got a fucking sharp edge on it. You want, and it's in the wrong place. That's not a handrail. You can't. So that shit continued. Of course, there were major issues with flooding and all that. I said, you got to put in a French drain on this end of the house. It'll stop all that. I showed him how to do it. He scratches the turf off and throws a little gravel in there that he found. And there it is, you're done. I said, what the fuck are you thinking? In the meantime, I'm trying to make it nice for guests. Story of my life. And then these assholes shut down the world with COVID. These assholes shut everything down with COVID. Universities closed. They closed schools for no good reason, because it was a lie. There was no pandemic. It was a pandemic. Turns out, now they find out the virus was developed first in a lab in the Carolinas. Then they moved it to China, Red China. Guess where? Wuhan, of course. Oh, this came out of a bat's ass. We didn't release it on purpose. You think the communist Chinese working with these fucking Marxist Jews? No. Fauci, that fucking Jew ass. So, shut down the university, shut down travel, so everybody stopped traveling, calling. Nobody, not even hunters. So, it wiped me out. Just absolutely fucking wiped me out. I had a month's rent left when I crawled back to Columbus. My shit was a whole house full of shit in storage for 2 years that I couldn't move, so it all turned to shit. Just got all rotten. And then it just got worse and worse. Dealing with the SBA and the government, and now, the county services people, and now Medicare, the fucking Medicare, Medicaid people. Now the simplest thing, change a fucking thing. You can't do it because everybody's an imbecile now. Nobody can read and write. People cannot figure out. So you don't need the special fucking tool. That's a bullshit Chevy thing. I said, I just got fed up. It's like, I can guarantee you it's locked up underneath by the tire. No, they're fucking fiddling around. I'm like, dude, you could drop that with a rip. You know what? Fuck you. I'm not dealing with this. I can't take this anymore. I can't take this aggravation anymore. So I'll just call corporate. It's getting to the point where I sued both of those. They sued me and I sued them. Both landlords down there, by the way. And I beat the shit out of both of them in court by myself. They had attorneys. I did not. I didn't need one. I went in there and argued everything, showed them everything. And, even though it was a crooked court, the probate court, or not probate, but the county court, he's crooked too, but at least he was doing things somewhat fairly. He starts getting pissy with me. He says, you're late. I go, no, I'm not. I was here. You weren't. I said I had to go back to this fucking rip-off parking garage that the city has, the university, and I had to move the car and put money in it to keep from being towed out. right across the street from the courthouse. He gets all angry and shit. I'm like, he's like, oh, what happened was he fell down in the bathroom or something. He fucking fell down. So he takes it out on the citizen afterwards. Cocksucker. But he still ruled in my favor. He had to. And so did the municipal court judge, who was the most crooked of all. He's in the pocket of these slumlords down there in Athens, Ohio. Forget his name. But he was working with the landlord's attorney. They're actually sitting there, standing there at his desk, strategizing, trying to find some fucking legalese to fuck with me. And I just looked at him. I said, Your Honor, I'm on the same footing as that attorney. I should be standing there, but I can handle it from here. I said, what you're doing is illegal. He got angry. I said, what you're doing is illegal. You can't do that. Ex parte communication, etc., etc. They get pissed one day. Then he realizes, well, we can't fuck with this guy this way. We'll try to fuck with him another way. They sent out an inspector who was the best friends with the judge. And he's looking at this stupid lean-to that this landlord had built. It's between a shed and the garage, right? And it's doing this. He takes these 30-foot long boards, 2x8s, big motherfuckers, and he nails them to this thing, and then nails them to the shed, and takes the other one, nails it to this thing, and nails it to the fucking garage. I'm looking at this. What are you building? A suspension bridge? What the fuck are you thinking? Well, he wasn't, because everybody I talked to said he's a dumb motherfucker. I talked to the gas company, because he was trying to burn me for the gas. I said, you know what? That thing's leaking. Get somebody out here and fix that fucking propane tank. I talked to the woman, and she says, yeah, he's been trouble. He's been trouble for years. And the guy just kept coming around and sticking his nose in shit. I'm like, you cannot do this when it doesn't matter who's here. Even if I'm just here. You can't keep coming over here and fiddling around. This is no longer your hobby farm, okay? It's not your kids in here destroying the property. It's a legitimate guy trying to run a legitimate business. And of course, I can't get Google to release or remove that listing. It's still there. It says I'm still in fucking Athens. So Google starts fucking with me. Unfucking real. It just never fucking ends. Nobody's watching anyway. People don't want to hear this shit. Well, you can't. They're not allowing you to. If anybody does stumble across it, figures a way to make it go viral, it would be appreciated. Fuck everybody.